Make that big boss less special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
What's up, world, and welcome back to another Codename Morpheus. This is episode 16, and I'm sure of it.
Okay.
So
we can drive.
Yay! So this is your weekly dip into the world of the virtual, where basically we take on all the fresh news coming out for PSVR, Oculus Rift, and HTC Vive, but mostly, of course, PSVR, because it is Codename Morpheus.
That was weird. We did that in unison without even trying.
That's our baby.
PSVR.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think we're in sync at this point.
We also got a PSVR unit for free because
you guys paid for it, which is why you're the best. And
this is why this exists.
An awesome weekly virtual podcast / vidcast. You can, of course, pick us up on iTunes, Stitcher, any of those places if you want to listen to us.
I'm going to say it here because I've been saying it in the other podcast. If you guys, iOS 11, I hate the podcast app. If you guys have a recommendation for podcast app on iOS, I will gladly take them in the comments below.
Keegan's looking for a suggestion.
Not happy
for
with
a new
the
podcast
update.
App. But we have the vidcast too, which is up on level2gamers.com, and that's the one that you are likely looking at our faces right now and wondering what is about to appear on this beautiful, magnificent monitor.
In the studio that is an optical illusion.
Our virtual studio for virtual reality. It makes sense, right? You get it now? You get it? Anyway,
I feel like you're being me right now.
I'm tired, man, but my voice is getting lost, but I'm excited because it's a big, heavy news week for VR, and it's like we're ramping back up to PSX now. I feel like we just came off the high of Paris, and now we're like getting into PSX.
Is the high of Paris like a drug?
I mean, at the time, it was pretty good. It felt like a little injection of the old VR in my veins. So this week, we're going to, of course, go through the new releases, the sales, the news, and spotlight, and a question, as per usual. Stick with us. I know it's a long show, but it's worth every second, I promise you. Moving right along, let's talk about the new releases this week. Did you get a chance to watch the trailer for any of these?
No.
Okay. So,
oh, I did watch the second one.
Okay. So, Discovery is the first one that came out.
Discovery Channel? You and
Discovery.
Me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals.
There's no mammals involved. Although there is, I'm saying that, there is goats in it. But
based on the song I just sang, I don't want goats to be involved.
Discovery, and I don't like to say it like this because this feels to me like this is a cop-out, but it's Minecraft VR. It's what it is. I feel like that's like shitty to the developers saying that, but I'm sure like everyone has said that to them at this point. So basically, Discovery is a building game where you build whatever you want out of multiple materials a la Minecraft. However, they do have things like different color blocks, and you can have lights and different color lights, and there's actual like wildlife in the game, like goats and stuff.
So it is Minecraft.
It's basically fucking Minecraft.
Minecraft VR is a thing as well.
That's
on PC.
true.
I don't think it's on consoles.
Now, I don't know if there's any kind of like a threat like there is in Minecraft. You know how like you have the creepers or whatever? I don't know if there's anything like that.
I don't know anything about Minecraft other than I destroy shit inside of it and I build stuff.
Well, Minecraft, the idea is that you have to stay like alive through the night.
Oh, I just do creative mode.
Yeah, so in the normal Minecraft, like you're building a place to survive the night, and then like you keep sort of adding to it and making it.
I feel like we've said the word Minecraft more than we ever have in our lives.
Right, exactly, and more than the word Discovery, which is the name of the game that we're talking about. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it doesn't look bad. Like it doesn't look bad at all. Like I mean, if you're into Minecraft, give it a shot. It looks fine. Yeah, I mean that's as simple as I can break it down. Like. Yeah. There's no hidden depths to it that I can see. Like the trailer explains everything. If you like Minecraft and you think it'd be sweet in VR, then maybe it's worth a go. It is $12, so it's not like you're going to be completely bankrupt after picking it up if you don't like the look of it. But so far, I can't see too much of a problem with it if you dig that style of game. So that's Discovery. Next up is a game called League of War Virtual Arena, which is one that was showcased a little bit there at Paris. It's been on our radars for a little while now, and we were actually lucky enough to pick up a code from the developer, so thanks to Jeff from their team, their comms team, that basically gave us a code to try it out and review it and stuff, and I haven't done that yet. I got the code late, so I'm gonna get right on that. But this game looks exciting. This is the one that's kind of like tower defense mixed with Command and Conquer style.
It's the RTS style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you on one side of the table, your opponent, AI or human, on the other side of the table, you create your defenses, you then create your armies, and you go to war virtually. And you can also play with a player that's offline too. So, well, not offline, but out of headset,
VR.
I guess, is off
Flat.
VR. So if me and Keegan were playing, then one of us could have the headset, and the other one could just play with the controller, and we could,
Co-op only, or can you play online like that
I
as
think
well?
you can play online. I'm not positive. Again, haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
I know for sure there's like a campaign mode, so there's that at very least.
Campagna.
So you don't have to have someone to play with necessarily. But yeah, League of War Virtual Arena, $20.
It looks interesting. I mean, it's one of those. I talk a lot about games that I feel like all games are the same right now in VR. Lots of space games, lots of flying games, lots of those kind of things. But this one, to me, like,
changes it up a little.
It's a game we've yet to see in VR. I think I've not seen an RTS style defense tower style game like
it's a popular
this
game
in
style.
VR. Yeah,
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how it goes. It looked good. I'm not good at RTS games. I'm gonna point that out. I played
I'm
Halo
not
Wars
bad,
2.
so I think I'll be all right. But we'll see.
Halo Wars is the only RTS I really play.
I liked Halo Wars. It was good.
Yeah, I got a Halo Wars 2 for free.
But yeah, so that's out this week as well. That's a sort of a decently anticipated title. And then last one, this one I don't think it necessarily came out on Tuesday. I think it was a little before that. But it did miss our new releases for last week, and that's called Ghosts in the Toy Box. Seen any of this?
No, but it sounds real weird.
It's Ghost in the Toy Box Volume 1, essentially. But it's a wave-based shooter. Basically, you have ghosts that are taking over little toys. You are defending yourself against said ghosts by throwing things like frisbees and stuff at them to keep them at bay. But also there's like some other contraptions and things you can make. And you can mess with the environment to make like things happen and like take out multiple ghosts in a row.
Can we...
It's wave-based.
Based on what I just said last one, where... what's the name? League of War was different. Can we not have wave-based shooters? Like, can we not have space games? I'm burnt out on space and wave-based shooters.
Wave-based shooters seem to be really, really like
because they're easy to do in my opinion. Like it makes sense.
Yeah.
But if there's 30 of them, at some point I'm gonna be like, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad. It looks like at least I like the way that they utilize the environment in the game. Like it's not just you shooting everything. Like there's an awful lot of like I have to shoot this to make this happen, to take out like this group, and so there's a little bit more thought put into it.
Burnout.
But yeah, it's definitely a little bit of
genre
of the same. But Ghosts in the Toy Box Volume 1 is 15.
The only wave-based shooter I really need is Dick Wild because that thing was hysterical.
Dick Wild was great. But yeah, Volume 1, do you think that's presumptuous? That you're going to have a Volume 2? Like, it's, maybe.
I mean, maybe they already have it done. They're
really proud of it. Again, haven't played it, so I feel bad giving you like a definite like buy it or don't buy it. But the trailer looks good. If you like wave-based, give it a look. So sales, none really. There's 2 free games that you can get this week, but there's none sort of cheaper ones that I could find. And I did go through the store quite extensively, but we look early, so sometimes something creeps up on us. And of course, those are part of the PS Plus lineup for November, or is it December? I think it would be November, right?
November,
yeah.
That's what month we're. I was like, what?
That's what month we're in.
Yeah, November.
I just could never tell if you do it like a month at a hand or whatever.
Nope.
You know how they release a sports game for 2018.
Russia Blood. Spoilers. Russia Blood is one of them. Goes through January.
Yeah, that's true. So Bound, good old Bound is a classic VR title, which can also be played in non-VR. That's the ballerina game that was.
I enjoyed that game. Like I said on the podcast yesterday, I've not played it since they fixed the camera in VR. That was my biggest issue, was the VR camera of like where I am, where did I end up?
Kind of it was a stuck camera, so it was like Resident Evil or whatever, where you go to a room and then you could move around the room, but then you had to actually push the R stick button to go back behind her, which was just really counterintuitive. So what they did instead was basically have it like it's mounted above her, so you follow her.
So I've not played since it, but it's everything I've heard is it's way better than what it was.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, Until Dawn Rush of Blood, you already mentioned it, but Until Dawn Rush of Blood is just a classic for VR.
Yeah, that's one you have to get.
Hands down.
And there's no reason to not get it now.
Yeah, it's free. It's made by a great company, Supermassive, who are putting a lot of work into VR right now. So
dude, I am Supermassive. Like, the Bravo team is like the one VR game outside of something else that's coming here shortly that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Like, Bravo team is the one. Because, I mean, Impatient is scary, so I'm not going to like it. But Bravo team's not scary.
You know, Moss is the snake, isn't it?
Moss has a snake.
I hate that you're letting that dictate your game playing life.
You understand my phobia and my fear of snakes. But could you imagine my phobia inside of VR?
But you're a mouse and you can fight the snake.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
All right.
I would. You remember when you sent me the picture of the snake and I was like, you're like, what's wrong with this? Like, you sent me a picture of snake 5 days ago.
It's like
you remember that
for a week? Yeah, I remember.
Dude, it was bad.
Anyway, Rush of Blood is one of those games that, like, if you have some friends over and you've already done the Shark demo, you've already done London Heist, like, this is the next step up, I think. This is kind of like, you don't have to move, you sit still. It's the first, I think it's a shooter, but it's also a roller coaster.
It's the first full game we played.
Yeah.
Or a game that felt full that we played.
Yeah.
Because I hate using the term full game.
And Batman even felt like a short game.
Batman felt like it should have kept going.
Yeah.
It was a good story, but should have kept going.
But yeah, Until Dawn, great game. Very scary. The roller coaster actually gives you inertia. Pick it up. It's free. What are you doing? All right. So, news. Everyone's favorite part of the show. So much news this week. I'm going to try and be fast with it because last week we ran hell long. So I'm going to be as nice speed-wise as I can, but I know that you want to chime in on at least some of this early stuff here. So, first of all, Sony has gone ahead and announced that they are going to be releasing a PSVR Skyrim Bundle.
Which makes total sense.
Which makes absolute sense.
What's included in said bundle, Tom?
So, the said... Excuse me, I'm like... This is lemonade. I don't normally drink lemonade, and it's killing me right now. It's like the only thing I had. So the November 17th release date for Elder Scrolls V Skyrim VR is just around the corner, and we couldn't be happier to announce that we're making it easier than ever to enjoy the epic open world of the Elder Scrolls with a PlayStation VR Skyrim Bundle. The PlayStation VR Skyrim VR Bundle, that's a lot of VR, includes the PSVR system, PlayStation Camera, 2 PlayStation Move controllers, and Skyrim VR.
And it's the new versions of everything.
Yep. And Skyrim VR, including the Dawn God, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn add-ons. Also included is an updated PSVR demo disc that features demo from 13 PSVR titles. So that's cool, because they're releasing this as a separate download, too, demo disc 2.
I like this. I kind of think they waited a little too long to announce it. I kind of wish they'd done this like maybe a month ago, because people are already hyped for it, but this would give them the sales going into it, like, oh, let's buy this now.
I think there was a lot of people that were like, I'm going to pick up VR because of Skyrim, though, that now have like a legitimate, like, okay, this is the way I'm going to do it. Yeah. The bundle, if you're interested, does cost $449.99 US dollars and $579 Canadian, and it's pre-orderable now. I am excited they're doing this because to me this shows confidence in the product.
I think the text you sent me was, this shows confidence, and I think my exact response was, it's a no-brainer that they would do this.
Right.
Like, that, to me, it makes perfect sense. Like Absolutely. I said, I kind of wish they did it a little bit sooner, just to keep the hype going a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Because the game comes out in, I think, like, a week.
Couple weeks, yeah.
So keep that in mind. It comes out the 17th.
I love the demo disc, too, as well, that they updated the demo disc. And my thought was,
I wonder what's on there.
Include anything good in there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, what's in there?
I'd love to see that. So that's apparently going to get a separate release to that demo disc in the store as a digital download. So we'll all have access to that.
Yeah, it's going to be free.
Yeah, it's gonna be free.
I do have a confession to make.
Sure.
So you know how I've been hard on PSVR for, I don't know,
most of our lives?
For a while now. Well, not most of our lives. Probably most of Codename's life.
Yeah.
I did go ahead and pre-order Skyrim VR.
Okay.
I'm excited to play it.
Okay.
I'm probably going to play with moves initially and going to switch to DualShock 4 because, again, like I said, I think that's going to be the way to play this game. Even with the updates they've given, I still think DualShock 4 is going to be the way to play. I'm excited. I'm scared because the beginning with the dragon is going to be a bit terrifying at first. But I'm excited for Skyrim. And I know I've been super negative, and we had a conversation before we started recording of like, I think Skyrim's going to do fine. I think Skyrim's going to do well. The question is how well, and the question is how well can it do. And I don't think it's... Part of me is like, I don't think it's going to be groundbreaking because people know what to expect now from Skyrim. It's going to add a dimension with VR. But I also remember it's Bethesda, and there were bugs and things that go wrong inside of it. So I don't think it's going to be the technical pinnacle of what we can do. I think Farpoint was that. In your opinion, Resident Evil potentially was that.
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to this, right? This is proof of concept. This is them saying that we can take a game, the size,
we can take
scale.
We can take a game that you know.
Like as AAA as a game as it gets, and convert the whole fucking thing to VR.
Do you think Bethesda has a Skyrim team that's just like, we're going to put Skyrim on... We got Switch, we got VR.
You're going to be here for 10 years, boys.
You're working on Skyrim.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it. Like, again, I know I've talked bad about VR, and I still stand behind a lot of things. What I said is I still think there's more that can be done, but I am excited for Skyrim. I play the crap out of Elder Scrolls Online. I've never played Skyrim outside of, like, 30 minutes of a live stream that crashed.
Challenge for you.
And I'm excited to see how it goes and kind of just getting in that world, because I think I'm either going to love the crap out of it, or it's going to be that moment where I'm like, maybe VR is not what I want it to be now.
Well, here's
That's where I'm
what I think is going to happen, because you like Elder Scrolls Online because of the social aspect of it, which was the main reason why you never really got into the idea of playing Skyrim by itself. But VR adds that extra step that means that even though you're playing by yourself, you're so immersed and you're so into the story that it almost feels like the NPCs are your buddies. You know what I mean?
I was telling somebody yesterday, I was like, I'm going to start out by playing like the game is normal and all this kind of stuff, and I go, at some point I'm just going to go to town and claim it my home.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and if they have all like the houses and everything in there, oh man, it's gonna be such a good time.
It sounds like it's full game, so I'm excited about that. So yeah, I did,
and DLC too.
I did pre-order it. I'm excited about that. I'm interested to get into it and kind of see how it goes. But yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say I wasn't excited for Skyrim. I'm also cautiously optimistic about it. It's gonna, like I said, it's gonna sell well.
Cautiously
but
optimistic is the question
word
of the day.
Yeah. It's 2 words actually.
Wow.
But the thing I have is it's going to sell well, but how many units will it push? Because this is the unit pusher. This Farpoint and Resident Evil have been the 3 unit pushers
about it
this
the
year.
other week. It's kind of the make or break, isn't it, for PSVR?
I don't think it's break.
At very least, it's gonna define the future.
Yeah. It's to me, it's kind of I don't see the Vita situation because it's not. I think it's too early to say that. But it's in the situation where if it does really well, VR is going to do really well in the future. If it doesn't if it does all right, like it's not bad. If it's bad, it's going to cause a whole different ball game. But I don't think it'll be that. If it's all right, I think VR is going to stay consistent to where it's at and have maybe 3 big games a year, and that's it. But if this opens up and does really well and pushes units, I could see other developers, which is what I've been saying, need to get third-party developers or Sony's first party, need to get on board and say, here are AAA experiences that are actually full-fledged experiences.
November 17th is going to be a very exciting day.
Remember the 17th of November.
PSVR. Alongside that, there was also news from Mr. Peter Hines himself saying there will be no modding or Creation Club support for Skyrim VR.
Which is good, because Sony has very strict on what you can and cannot do with VR to make sure you don't get sick.
Yeah, I think that's a wise move. I think modding in VR could be completely overwhelming for the system, because modding in a normal Skyrim game, even the remastered edition, you can
it crashed my game multiple times.
So in VR, crashes, glitches, they're not your friends. They do make you feel like you're having a seizure or something. So yeah, I'm happy with that decision. I'm perfectly fine with that. Some more huge news coming out, and this came out really early this morning actually, which is that Dreams, again, we're talking about these guys. They just keep creeping up, especially they Paris.
Doesn't say Paris. They said they weren't going to be there, and they said we have something to announce. Yeah. Well, they finally announced what they've got to announce, that they're going to announce something.
They've announced their announcement, and that is that they will be at the PlayStation Experience on
to probably announce
the 9th and 10th.
8 through 10.
8 through 10
is the whole thing.
And they're going to be bringing Dreams with them. So we're going to expect to see a lot more in terms of what Dreams is, what it looks like now, whether it's actually fully VR or not. Like all these questions that we've had hanging over our heads.
If they come out and say this game is VR, if they come out and confirm it's VR, I'm all on board. This is one of those games, again, that would get me excited. But the problem I have right now is I feel like this is pulling it's been in limbo too long. And when they come out, they need to say, hey, it's VR. It's coming out early next year, coming out mid-next. Like, give us a date, or even if it's mid-2018 or a month in 2018, like, give us that and go. Like, if they come out and say, hey, it's VR, but they don't give us a release date, I'm gonna be like, well, I don't care anymore.
I think they'll release date.
They've got to be.
I think that's what
even if it's not a date, even if it's a time
quarter. Just give us a quarter.
Well, I want a month. I think quarter's too broad still, because if it's a quarter, you're still way far out.
Fair enough. So yeah, exciting news, and that also means, of course, that PlayStation Experience is going to have lots of, hopefully, exciting announcements in there. And this is just the first of many, the announcement for the announcement. Now, this next one
Speaking
is one
of announcements,
I am very, very excited about.
Somebody posted this in our comments on a video last week.
We weren't sure it was real.
And we were like, we checked it, and we couldn't fact check it at the time because we couldn't find who we were reporting on it, and then it came out.
Yep. So we got some news that from Impulse Gear that Farpoint is going to have a Versus expansion pack, which will be update 1.08. So I'll read you the little bit of blurb here from Impulse Gear. Announcing the Versus expansion pack. This free update brings the most requested user feature by far, player versus player, to Farpoint. The Versus expansion pack supports 1v1 gameplay with different enemy AI teammates that the player can spawn and use strategically to gain an advantage.
Sounds like a strategy game.
There are 2 PvP game modes, Deathmatch and Uplink. In Uplink, communication relays are dropped into the play area that the player must capture and hold to gain points, killing the other enemy with enemy AI.
Capture the flag.
Award points, basically, or domination.
Yeah.
For both Deathmatch and Uplink, it is a round-based system. You need to win 2 of the 3 rounds, or out of 3 rounds, on each map to be declared the winner. Each round takes place in a different, separate area of the map, so you need to learn the layout of each area to master a map. 3 new PvP maps with 3 areas each are included in the Versus expansion pack.
So nine playable areas.
In addition to the PvP game mode, the following new features are included in the Versus expansion pack. Player XP progression system with unlockable skins, weapon XP progression system with 15 new weapons to unlock, chaos difficulty, co-op games are significantly more chaotic, easily crouch while sitting using the crouch button toggle, new turning comfort settings, yes, they can be all disabled.
I feel like they put that there for you, Tom.
And new trophies and various bug fixes and improvements. So that's a lot, man. That's a lot to package in there, but yeah, essentially Farpoint is going to be PvP.
Yeah, that's
exciting.
It is. I'm part of me is excited that it's happening. It's kind of just one of those 1v1. When we get a true like 4v4, 6v6 PvP game, that'll be exciting.
Something that's later on, but
that's going to be a bit taxing. I think also the other thing you have to keep in mind with that is you have to have a big player base. I don't know how big the player base is currently still on Farpoint.
Yeah,
especially because they didn't say they're going to have.
I still haven't
online.
Finished it. I need to dig back into it. But it was. But the thing about Farpoint is that it was one of the first games to utilize the aim. So this is an aim.
It was the first
versus shooter, and
it came with it.
Yeah, and it's completely free movement as well, and giving you even more options to disable safety features. So essentially you got your first completely free movement versus FPS game on PSVR.
Yeah,
which is great.
And
it's free.
It played well.
Yeah,
and it played well. That's the other things. Like this game, like as you know, if you watched our channel for a little while, I played it, got scared when a spider jumped on my face, gave up, but I could see jumping in PvP mode.
This is the only thing I'm concerned about for Skyrim with you is when a spider jumps in your face, because there are spiders in Skyrim.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the opening dragon than I am anything, because isn't there a scene where it comes in and if I remember correctly, he comes in, hangs on, yeah, but he breathes fire at you, and you're like, oh, it's a fucking dragon, Tom.
Close your eyes, dude.
Full-size dragon.
It's not even a real thing.
Full-size dragon.
Right.
It's not real, but it's got to be real because it's virtual reality.
As you said to me the other day, you feel like sometimes I drop things in the notes that are designed.
I feel like this one is
make you like VR more, and I said that is not true. These are just things that I read and I think are worth including. This, though, does have that vibe about it, and that is...
This is the one I sent you about when I read this.
In an interview with The Telegraph, Jim Ryan, head of global sales and marketing at SIE, was asked about whether there's enough significant public interest in VR, to which he responded, "Yes, I do. I think VR will definitely see as having the potential to be a very significant part of the future of interactive entertainment. Now, quite what the horizon is and quite what the rate of pace of adoption is, that's still a little unclear, but Sony is committed to this and we're in it for the long haul." So, what do you say? What do you know?
What did they say about the Vita?
I don't remember.
Because I've also Nintendo this before. Where Reggie's like, we're doing this. So
that's fair counterbalance.
I always take people like this with a grain of salt because it's their job to sell the units.
Yeah.
But it's exciting, and he also said entertainment. It's not gaming. It's entertainment, and that's always what we've said.
Sony have been doing like those music videos and everything.
Yeah, I mean, Sony, let's be honest, Sony has Sony Pictures, Sony Animation. They obviously have PlayStation. They make TVs. They have Sony, in my opinion, to get VR to everybody outside maybe like Apple, has the biggest availability to do so.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. I'm interested to see what, like he said, it's here, and we both, I think, can agree that it's going to stay. It's just, what does it look like? Mm-hmm. And is it going to be this very niche things where it's all indies?
Is the basic vibe of it, which is good. I mean, that's what we want. We want Sony to be, and remember, we've had this discussion before about how like Xbox still doesn't really have an answer for it.
Because they're waiting to see what happens.
Because they're kind of waiting on the sidelines. Because of that, now Sony has crossed $500 million in PSVR hardware sales alone. So this is largely, I think, because of it being unanswered by anything else. I think the Vive and the Oculus have very unique niche
Is that half
markets.
$1 billion or half a billion units?
It costs $500 million in PSVR hardware sales. So it's a number
So it's money.
of sales.
Monetary.
Yes, monetary. But yeah, I think they've put a lot of hard work in, and I don't know about you, but I've seen so many more PSVR adverts lately, on like just TV, on like Facebook, on like I felt like there was one day last week where every time I went to Facebook to see what people were posting, Sony's thing was a VR thing. It's like they just had a VR day where everything was VR, 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 VR. So they're putting the time in and the advertising.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what Holiday is going to push. I've seen plenty of commercials now for obviously the Xbox One X has come out. I've seen commercials for that. You're competing against that. I really, 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 really want Sony to push it. I think Skyrim is that push they have. Yeah. It's again, what's that Skyrim I think is gonna be the holiday push, which makes
Skyrim
sense.
had universal appeal when it came out as far as a game.
I just think the problem you have with Skyrim is people are lapsed on it. They're like, there's that group of people like I don't care about Skyrim anymore, and that's fair because I'm one of those people that have never played it. So I'm like I
think anyone that's played VR though knows that even if they played Skyrim 100 times,
but you're assuming people are going to buy it who are VR. If my argument is if you're trying to sell to people who don't have VR,
I'm with you. That's
why Skyrim I think is a bit of an issue. But I'm excited. I want to know.
It's a toss-up.
I want to know. I mean, we know it's coming. We just don't have definitive times when things are coming. So after Skyrim, because holiday season, there's always going to be an influx of units sold. So during holidays, somebody buys the Skyrim bundle. They play Skyrim for. Let's pretend they play it into January, February, just for funsies, and they're like, I need to play something else. What's the next big thing they're going to grab outside the indie experiences? Because that's what I keep saying. Sony needs to have these bigger ones that jump in.
Lucky for us, I mean, they are working on that stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that's slipped to next year. Like for example, Moss is a February game.
Yeah, so, there's lots of things. A lot of things coming. I'm just interested to see kind of again roadmap. They give us the roadmap. They just don't have dates yet for everything.
It's more positivity though, and it's like we keep seeing all these fucking doom and gloom posts everywhere where people.
Or his name's like, Keegan.
No,
I'm not doom and gloom.
You're a devil's advocate. There's a difference. But like, there's a lot of places though. I feel like IGN especially, like they're always just like, oh, PSVR this, PSVR, and they just like don't care. And it feels like people are purposefully ignoring it because perhaps of Sony's slightly dodgy history with their side projects,
which is fair.
But which is more than fair. But at the same time, I feel like they've shown a pretty high level of commitment to this already. I think they've shown more commitment to this than they did to the Vita for the entirety of its lifespan. So I'm interested. So I follow Kind of Funny. Yeah. I follow Greg Miller, who is like a PlayStation, like he is a voice of PlayStation for the community. The way he doesn't really talk about PSVR, but when Paris Games Week happened, he talked about it. He's like, yeah, I play my unit when things come out. I enjoy my time in it. He goes, but the problem I have right now, and I tend to agree with him, is I don't have a reason to put the headset on versus another game that's coming out that I'm super hyped about. He goes, I need that game, and he goes, Skyrim will probably do it for me, but I need that big game that's going to take me away from Destiny, from Friday the 13th, from whatever game I'm playing currently, because VR setup is a bit more, which is... It's an easy complaint. More hassle.
It's an easy complaint. Yeah. So why would I put the headset on versus just turn it on and playing a game that I enjoy?
I think it's. It's exciting.
But yeah, that is again. I want to see a profit number, not just sales number, because profit will tell more than sales. But if we go back to reports that have happened before, Sony has always sold the PSVR for a profit. So if that's the case, Sony's doing well. It goes back to my argument of devs.
Which, but hopefully, though, with this, they can help fund those smaller studios and get better experiences.
Speaking of smaller studios, Tom.
Speaking of smaller studios that, decided to quit on VR, CCP, mad at you still.
Their parent company got rid of them. They still are wanting to play.
That's fair.
But yeah.
CCP are still releasing Spark for other VR platforms, which I just thought was interesting. So it said, today we're thrilled to announce that Spark will be coming to Oculus Rift and HTC Vive on November 16th for $20, featuring full cross-play with PSVR for a unified V-Sport community. So this is interesting because this is a dead
I even like this. I sent the screenshot to you and it's got my thumbs up on it.
It's a dead studio that is basically saying that we're still gonna.
I'm
they've
hoping
already
to
said they're still supporting Eve. They've already said the Newcastle group is still supporting Eve. So now they have Spark was the one that people were scared about because it was so well received, and they're like, oh no, well, you know what'll happen, and well, apparently this will happen. They'll release it on everything else anyway.
I'm hoping to get
they're
purchased.
kind of awesome, and that just keeps better player base for the game. So really excited.
I'm hoping to get purchased and can keep going.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I just, again, money is the thing.
Yeah.
My business hat, Tom.
Other
That's a new T-shirt. We were talking about some new T-shirt designs today. I feel like we needed one that says, "I'm gonna put my business hat on."
It's like a top hat with just a dollar sign on
Yeah.
it. So Sprint Vector, you may remember from Paris. Sprint Vector was the ice racing / Wipeout style game
really
where
cool
you
looking
get
one.
to ice skate really fast and jump off ramps and hurt people, etc. It looked really, really fun and really, really fast. They have confirmed a released period for this, and that is first quarter 2018.
You can put it on your Steam wish list now.
Yeah, so this is like alongside Moss, this is a first quarter 2018 deal, so maybe when you're done or you're getting a little bit tired of sipping mead in Skyrim, you can hop out and have a race or be a little mouse. So again, this is early part of the year, post-holiday release support, all good things. And then the next bit of news I was especially happy to read. It still doesn't give me everything I wanted to, but I'm just glad that it's a thing.
They came out and said it.
Yeah, so you guys remember a while back they released a game called Abduction, which was supposedly, very similar to Myst. I think it was even done by the creators of Myst. So Abduction was supposed to have a PSVR element to it, which did not make it into the initial launch of the game. So
And you were not happy.
I was not happy because I picked it up on launch day to specifically play it in VR.
Have you played it? You haven't played it yet at all.
Not touched it until they fucking fix it. So
You sound like me and Project Cars. Like, fuck you, Project Cars.
But this is the difference between you and Project Cars is that they came out with an update.
And they said, hey, here's what's happening.
So Abduction posted, this is back on November 3rd, PSVR update. Hi all, thank you for your patience as we continue to work with Sony to get Abduction updated for PSVR. It was unfortunate when Abduction launched for PS4 that we could not include the VR element on launch day. To those of you who are still aching for that situation, please accept our apology. I do. We feel your disappointment and pain acutely. It is ours too, and hope to have some good news to share with you soon. We had hoped to have news to share this week, but circumstances beyond our control, and which we're not allowed to talk about, of course. Which, again, whenever you have one of these, like, we're not allowed to talk about, I'm like, is it moves? We're not allowed to talk about, have delayed our announcement.
See, I see that as a PSX.
Maybe. Please know these things. Abduction for PSVR is still in certification with Sony. If you already bought Abduction on PS4, the PSVR update is still coming. We hope to have new news to share soon. Thank you for your continuing patience.
I think this is PSX.
You think so?
I think it's PSX.
You think they're gonna bring it
I'm
up
more certain it's PSX than I am Move 2.
Really?
Because we can't talk. But circumstances beyond our control, which we can't talk about, means they're going to announce something that Sony, I'm guessing, has their hand in and says, "Hey, I think it's PSX." Because if Sony wants to make a big splash,
like a same day thing for it, like when the PSVR
I don't know if it'll be
is live today.
I don't know if it'll be the same day. It could be based on what they're saying here, which kind of sucks if it's Abduction because they kind of have taken a smack because of this.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But if Sony's holding them back,
of sales because of this, because the VR community is crazy fucking intense on the games.
But I hope
this is
PSX, because if Sony wants to do things right, because Paris was good and bad. Paris had a lot of things that were exciting. It was a lot of E3 2.0, which is what they came out and said is a lot of things we knew from E3. PSX, though, like we keep saying, is for the PlayStation fans. Mm-hmm. What do you hold back for a PlayStation fan? VR. What do you hold back for a PlayStation fan? Indies. What do you hold back for a PlayStation fan? A first-party exclusive something or other.
I'm super pumped about PSX. I think it's going to be way
I don't think
the
only issue I have with PSX is how late it is and how soon it is to holidays.
Yeah, but that's kind of nice though, because it takes off the pressure of having to do like a holiday thing, and they can make it more about the fans and make it more about the little things that people have been wanting, as opposed to
it's just me of like, is the thing going to come now, or is it going to come spring? Is it going to come when are these things that we're seeing going to come?
Well, I hope they're going to have a lot of like todays for that, because it's so close to the holidays.
Also, speaking of completely off track here, but I saw somebody the other day that said, what if Death Stranding and the other game that's way far out, there's like 6 of them.
Days Gone?
Yeah, no. there's another one. I can't remember what it was. But what if they're PS5 games? Because, you know, PS5 is coming out in 2020.
No, it's... Yeah, you said 2019. You're changing it.
Oh, 2019. Whatever. PSVR 2 is coming.
So speaking anyway of DLC, which is, or it's more of a patch, I suppose, for Abduction. But speaking of DLC, Arizona Sunshine have released a statement, or the Vertigo Games, the team behind Arizona Sunshine, have released a statement about their DLC, which we
Arizona
talked about
Sunshine, I feel like, has had some issues.
It has. I picked it up when it was on sale. I still haven't played it yet, but it's an AIM game, so I'm kind of excited for it. But you know, everyone still says it's not perfect. So, but the devs are continuously working on it, which is great. So, so this is from Vertigo. First of all, we apologize for the delay of the free Arizona Sunshine PSVR DLC and our silence on the topic for the past months. I love it when they acknowledge that they've been silent. We are now ready to announce...
Well, they can't not acknowledge you're not silent because we know that they're silent.
I guess that's true. We're now ready to announce that after some challenges encountered in the development process, details on which we are sharing below, things are looking up. Both the Old Mine and Undead Valley Horde mode maps are now with Sony for approval, and we are working on a swift release. While the maps are now imminent, we feel we owe you a bit of an explanation on the development process and the issues that prolonged it. I love this. Horde mode is performance heavy, as it needs to run with not one or two, but 4 players at a time, each shooting with all their might at a lot of zombies. Every additional player and every additional zombie was a significant impact on the game's performance, and while the original Horde map works well even with 4 players, the additional Horde maps are much more complex and bigger and needed much more work than anticipated to run at 60 frames per second. To illustrate, the Old Mine map is basically taken from the campaign mode, where it was originally created for 1 or 2 players and with way fewer zombies in mind. As for Undead Valley, this is a dynamic warehouse with many dynamic objects, with which we already pushed the limits on the PC. Over the past months, we have worked on a series of changes in order to make the additional Horde mode maps work for PSVR. Overall performance optimizations, art optimizations, various level adjustments, gunshot optimizations that improve performance of all Horde mode maps, and including the original. And additionally, we can confirm that Arizona Sunshine PSVR will see its digital release in Japan and other Asian territories later in the year. This should see an increase in Horde mode players on PSVR, the more the merrier. So not only are they giving a really good explanation as to, I mean, it's not really an in-depth explanation, but an explanation for why it was taking so long to get the additional map modes in, but they're saying they're going to increase the player base by adding Asia too.
As I play devil's advocate as I do, the way I read them of like, oh, we need to do this, this, and this. 2 things. 1, don't announce when a DLC is coming until it's ready. 2, know what your system limitations are. And that's partially because it sounds like on PC it's pushing the limits. PS4 is less powerful than the PC, as we both know. And I'm kind of intrigued to see 2 things. What does that mean for PS4 and PS4 Pro supporting VR and PS5 in 2019 and PSVR 2 in 2020? But to me, that's 2 things. 1, it's either the devs not knowing how... devs biting off more than they can chew and not having it ready, or it's the PS4 Pro is underpowered and we didn't really want to do it, but since we already supported PSVR, we said we would do it, so we got to figure out a way to do it.
You know, I'm thinking it's a lot more of the former, because there are already so many experiences that are probably going to be a lot more crazy than Horde mode on Arizona Sunshine, which are doable in process and working right now. Looking at things like Blood and Truth, looking at things like Alvo, looking at things like Bravo Team, like that is a lot of things on screen at one time with multiple online players, and you know, Farpoint shit.
Let's look at Fruit Ninja. I mean, Fruit Ninja's got a lot of things on screen if you think about it.
So I think it's probably a lot more to do with the fact that because it's a port, maybe they have limited, you know, abilities to make it work, and they're probably going to have to drop back some serious scaling to try and make it work.
Yeah, I don't know who to yell at here, the devs or Sony. One of the two. I want to yell at somebody.
I don't want to yell at them because
I know it's not easy.
They're doing it, you know, but at the same time, like, it does seem like that's a somewhat flimsy excuse.
It sounds like a cop out.
I mean, if you can make fucking Skyrim in VR, then
we don't have that looks yet.
Bets are off for everyone else.
Did you see the Skyrim gameplay footage from IGN? yet?
No, not yet.
Dude, I need to show that to you. I'm surprised you haven't watched it yet. Fun fact about Skyrim, when you move, this is going back to some Skyrim news. When you move in Skyrim, it does the vignette around you.
Yeah, but you can turn that off.
Yes, actually. But I like that they have that.
I fucking hate that.
Well, I know, but again, options, Tom. Options.
I know.
I prefer there to be options than them tell you to play one way or another. It's kind of like how you feel if it's teleport only.
All right.
Speaking of which...
Jesus.
Do you like my segues here?
It was mean, but sure. More about Movement and Blood and Truth revealed. So we have some more information on.
This is the next game I'm super excited about.
Yeah, Blood and Truth is the game that was announced at Paris Games Week by the developers London Studios that made London Heist. And basically, it's kind of. Everyone's been looking at this game like it's full locomotion or teleportation, and no one can quite figure it out.
It's a combination.
The truth is, it's a mixture of the two. So basically, it's confirmed to be kind of on rails, but you do have hand movements for a lot of other things. So how it kind of broke down is there's movement points for you to select. Much like Batman, when you select one, you move to that place in real time. You can be shot and shoot at the same time. Once you are in that location, you can strafe with buttons. But for ladders and pipes and things like that, you actually make like the natural kind of climbing gesture.
Can I just? I love the person on here. You can shoot and be shooted.
Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out.
You fixed it.
Skillfully avoided it.
Yeah, I just love that English.
No, but yeah,
I love r/PSVR.
It's a little broken, but yeah. So basically, it's kind of teleportation based and more similar to Batman, except that during that process, you can in fact do things. It's not like zap, I'm there. It's like you're running, but then when you're running, you can shoot, you can aim, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's not full locomotion, but it's also not full teleport, which I think is all right. I think if anyone could do it, London Studios can do it.
If it's done right, I have no issue with teleportation. If it's done right, I have no issue with full locomotion. If it's done right in combination, if the control scheme makes sense, I'm all for it. I don't care what the control scheme is as long as it makes sense to what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's why teleportation in Skyrim didn't make sense to me. That's why I'm probably going to play DualShock 4, like I said. Because doing this, I would hate. Because you're walking a lot.
That.
Yeah, just that. Because you're walking a lot. But like in this, if you're in a room and you're only going left, right, you're going up, like... It's not as big of a deal.
And if you remember, London Heist was no motion. It was all, and they managed to create still a perfect experience. And a feeling of motion, like being in the car and things like that. Very clever.
I won't forget the dude leaning into me the first time, because you saw that was a lot of pre-release footage. Was that scene of him with the just leaning in? It was like,
that was when you realized what VR could be. Yes. I think because that was like when you see the footage of it, like when they try and like showcase it, it doesn't do it justice compared to actually having the dude in your face. So it's good to hear, and I think that I'm okay with that. I think Blood and Truth is going to be great.
Correct.
So looking forward to it.
Let's rapid fire here, Tom.
Moving on. Let's get some rapid fire going. So Out of Ammo is a strategy FPS that is finally coming out for PSVR. It's previously existed on other systems. You may have seen your friend Jacksepticeye play it, where basically you start off the game by kind of selecting structures and places to bomb and all that kind of stuff. It's like a straight up strategy game, but you can also be a inventory person on the ground and actually play it like an FPS game and like aim and shoot and fire and all that kind of fun stuff. The cool part about Out of Ammo is that when it does release for PSVR, if you pre-order it, you do get a free copy of Castle Storm VR, which I think is cool. Castle Storm
never hurts to have more games.
Yeah, I mean, Castle Storm was never a game that I was super like pumped about. I'm just not a Castle Storm guy, but it's a free PSVR game for pre-ordering another PSVR game. I mean, that's a pretty good deal. That's worth it, I think.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, check out some of the footage behind for Out of Ammo. It looks super interesting. It does look janky. I'm gonna say that. That's my word of the day. Janky. But I think the fun level might end up overriding the jankiness.
Yes.
I think that's kind of where we're at with Out of Ammo. The Exorcist devs have released new teaser footage for their game, which will be behind me. Now, the Exorcist game... I know, right? The Exorcist game, originally when it was announced, had just like the tiniest teaser trailer ever. It was just kind of like this weird...
It was like the Stranger Things trailer where it's like,
here's
the lights.
Worse than Stranger Things, yeah. It was just like, Exorcist is coming out, and they had the music, and it was like, it's going to be a thing.
We paid to get the music. Here you go, guys.
Yeah. So anyway, but you know, I was excited because I like The Exorcist. I'm a horror fan. So I reached out to the developers, and they, were kind enough to keep us in the loop on things, and and they released this new kind of trailer, sort of just showcasing more of the game, some actual like in-game footage stuff, and just fleshes it out a little bit, and gives you a better idea of what you're looking for. So so that's really exciting. I assume you won't be playing that game.
No.
Next up,
this
Alvo.
one though I might.
Yeah,
it looks
Alvo,
like
weird name.
Fucking CSGO in VR if done
does.
right.
The trailer, bang on like CSGO.
The trailer scares me because it makes me want the game a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't think what I'm seeing is going to be reality.
You don't think that the movement's going to work the same way you want it to, and all that kind of stuff. But
it's a good hype trailer. It got me excited.
It's a great trailer, and if you are a fan of Counter-Strike, then you'll instantly kind of recognize how it plays.
But at the end, it did show a gameplay of you with this little bomb defusal thing. So it did show gameplay at the end. But again, that doesn't tell you how it's going to go.
I think if it's full locomotion, it'll be perfect.
But CSGO is not that graphically intense either.
Not at all.
That's the thing. So like it looks good. I'm gonna say I'm excited about it, but I don't want to be too excited because I have understanding what VR can do.
I'm going to throw out the cautiously optimistic, the CO on that. I'm going to throw out the CO and say that I like if it.
I'm going to keep my eye on this definitely.
The way that it should move, then it'll be great. If it's teleportation, if it's any fucking twist in the tail, guys, we're going to be upset. But if it looks like CSGO VR, then fucking
But good job on the trailer.
Yeah, trailer's great.
Fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
But it's funny, all the comments were like, "Is the CS:GO for PSVR?" And I was like,
exactly like it. That's not
setup
and everything.
Not a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until they get a cease and desist from CS:GO saying, "Hey, you stole our stuff."
From Valve, So our last bit of news is usually goofy, and today is no exception. So this is something that you sent me, but I already had it in my package because I knew that it would be a fun one to talk about. And I
love putting stuff in your package
as well. Hello. But this is basically what's the name of it again? It's like Zeph
VR or Zephyr.
Zephyr is real wind for virtual reality. That's right.
It's like
feel
farts.
what it's like to fly through the air, have bullets whiz by you, or be attacked by ghosts for any PSVR, Vive, or Oculus game.
It is successfully funded, by the way.
It is successfully funded. This is a real thing. So, okay, here's the write-up. The Zeph VR is an accessory that attaches smart fans to any VR headset and adds realistic wind at the right moments. So when you fly, fall, or accelerate, or when there's wind in a game, you'll actually feel it. We like to think of it as a rumble pack for VR. The Zeph VR uses machine learning to recognize the sounds of wind and motion in VR games automatically. This means it works for all games out of the box. So, the Zeph VR adds a ton of immersion to VR games, especially those with lots of motion or weather. Here are some examples: moving around like flying, racing, or swinging between trees. Hello, Windlands.
I was going to say, I'm on their quick Kickstarter, and they have a GIF of this lady with, I think it's a lady, might be a man, I can't tell.
It's a lady.
With this lovely contraption on her face with the VR headset playing Woodlands.
Also roller coasters, as you know from Until Dawn. That should be interesting. Skydiving, falling, horror games, all that kind of stuff when something comes really close to your face.
I'm interested to see how this works with the game.
Do you want to hear what the testers have said?
I mean, yeah, I'm just interested to see how does it know?
How does it interact?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the part. There's
I guess
a USB
they said
cable.
they're using machine learning.
I do want to say prices. If you're doing HTC or Vive, it's $75 if you get the early bird special. If you're PSVR, it's $79. After that, it's $89 and $99, respectively.
And the way that it kind of looks, and you should have figured it out by now, but it kind of clips to the bottom of the visor on either side by your cheeks, which is the weird part to me.
I wonder how this area,
like your nose,
like what's in the nose area, like how it stays there, because there's clearly a clip there, but I don't know if it just and then spreads out. Like, is it touching your face? Like, I'm interested to see how it all functions in the end, but it sounds cool.
So here's what some of the testers have said. I heard an arrow whiz by my left ear, and for the first time, I could actually feel it. I was so startled, I almost ran into the wall. This is what VR is supposed to be like. John N. The Zeph VR felt like an integrated part of the game. I looked forward to every jump, knowing that I would feel the wind rushing against my face. It truly added to the immersion. Scott D. Zeph VR is the missing link to full VR presence that I didn't know I needed. It has vastly improved immersion, heat, and even nausea in my experiences with it. Now that's
the other thing. It'll cool you down.
Point. Yeah. Harrison S. I've been lucky enough to test a prototype, and I can confirm it does add quite a bit to the experience. Samiek F. Immediately made other VR seem lacking. Matt R. And lastly, I cannot imagine using VR without the Zeph VR after trying it one time. It takes VR a huge step closer to being actual virtual reality, by Charles L. So, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, it looks kind of stupid, but at the same time, like, I'm kind of on the fence of I hold judgment until I try it.
The other thing too, and this is where we've posed this question before for Kickstarter. I don't know. I haven't read these people's backgrounds, what they do, what they don't do, like
testers, yeah.
how. No, I'm talking about like
the
company. Like, what's their background in? Is their background in hardware? Is it in VR? Like, what's their
what makes them?
Yeah,
the guys?
what makes them the people to make this?
Yeah.
And I can't say because I don't know. But you hear Kickstarter horror stories of people getting a lot of money. Granted, they're 40,000. Their goal was 30,000, so they hit that. 26 days to go. So I'm interested to see kind of how long it goes.
Like what the extensions are as well.
But yeah, I'm.
Would you do it?
I'm CO, as you say, cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Would I do it? I think it could be cool. I want to know how it works before I do it. So how many games are going to support it? How does it support it?
All the games,
that kind of thing. Yeah, but how? Like Skyrim, if I'm sprinting, can I feel that? If I have a dragon breathe on me, do I feel the dragon's breath? Like, that's the thing I want to know.
I think is like, because it seems to me like it reacts to sound. Like, that's the cue, is the sound. Mm-hmm. So the question is, like, any noise then would potentially put, like, wind in your face, and not every noise is worthy of putting wind in your face.
Because for the PSVR one here, so super low pricing for first backers, a Zephyr compatible with PSVR includes an additional microcomputer and audio cable to enable PSVR compatibility. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't want to have to plug extra things in. That's already off-putting. But yeah, I mean, Zeph VR, that's ZEPH VR, is a wind unit that connects to any VR headset and apparently works with any game and makes it feel like you can actually feel the wind in your hair, or not hair, in your beard.
Like if you spend $1,000, you get 10 units of it, compatible with everything.
Who would need 10?
If you want to start a business, maybe.
Selling these?
No, doing like an arcade.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
See?
It's a business hat over here.
Or a developer, maybe.
Yeah, so basically, that's it for the news roundup, ending on a weird one, but I would actually love to know how many of you out there would consider the Zeph VR as a viable thing.
Kind of like you, I need to. I want to see it before I do it.
$79 is not a bad price, though.
It's $99 full.
Yeah,
like retail would be $99.
I would want to actually.
It was $50 if you bought it early for the Vive, and I don't know why PlayStation's more, because they have an extra cable, I guess.
I don't know. I would like to see more reviews from people that have actually used it. Maybe we should reach out. Maybe we should see if they can give us some. We can review it. So anyway, that's your news roundup. So don't go anywhere. We're going to move into the spotlight. And the spotlight's a really exciting one for me to talk about this week because I loved this game so much. And then of course we have our question at the end. So the spotlight this week is going to shine on a game called
Wonder What You Got.
Stifled.
That's the echolocation one, right?
It is the echolocation.
I'm learning names now. That's the problem I have with VR is we say so many games every week that I can't fucking remember names.
You're getting there.
And some of them are very generic.
So Stifled is the game that is using echolocation for you to actually see what you're doing and where you're going. It is a horror game, so already that takes you off the table for a potential player. But essentially, what you're doing is...
you're stifling things.
You are the one that is stifled, sir, and you must unstifle yourself. So here's how it works.
I'm listening.
So when you start the game, it gives you options that the weirdest one and the one that makes the game what it is and why I think you would potentially like it if you weren't so scared of it is that it utilizes the microphone. Which I didn't expect. I thought it, because all the like footage and everything I'd seen was just like people throwing rocks around and like trying to make noise, or there's like natural noise like a river or something.
If you remember back at the beginning of this podcast when I talked about things that are doing things in VR that haven't been done before, that's a prime example.
It's a new thing. Yeah. Well, not new, but utilized very well.
Well, I mean, London Heist used the microphone for smoking and all that. So, it's attention to detail.
Yeah. So what they make you do is they make you do 3 kinds of recordings. One where they just say shut up. So it's just like, don't say anything. So what they're doing at that point is listening to the ambient noise in the room. And I have like my heater going and stuff. So that's good because that like rules those things out so it doesn't fuck with you. Then they say whisper. So you just have to whisper like a bunch of crap. Just like whispering at the...
Tom, I love you.
I'm
going to kill you. I'm going to murder you.
terrifying. And then they make you, I'm going to regret this, yell. Stay away from the microphone.
I don't want to yell because it's going to be too loud.
Then they make you yell into the microphone.
Is your wife like, what the hell's going on?
She was.
Did you tell her what was going on? You probably didn't know until
I didn't know until it came up. That's the thing. Like I said, I was just expecting to be throwing rocks around. So when I learned about all these extra settings and everything, I was like, all right, well, that's an interesting start to things. And then they kind of give you the VR options. Because this is not just a VR game, by the way. 1 second.
He's drinking.
I am. My throat's getting sore. So, when you flick the VR mode and do your microphones and turn off all the safety settings, as I do, then you get in game. Now, I thought this game was purely just walking around black rooms and like
echo
and white lines, and that was it.
That's what you got to do, by the way, for echolocation. If you're playing this game, Tom, I expect you to
dolphin noises.
That way it'll be like. Brrr.
So,
would have fun playing this game.
Here's the weird part, though, man, is because it's not all that. That's a part of the game.
Is it a bag of chips as well?
There is chips involved.
Nailed it.
But you start the game like waking up in bed and you have to turn off your alarm, and your alarm's making noise, so you can kind of see a little bit while the alarm's going. But the second you turn it off,
you can't.
The fog comes in, like it's like a mist comes in, and you can't, like Silent Hill, you can't see in front of your face. So,
I've never played Silent Hill.
So well, you've seen it.
I've seen fog.
So you have to make a noise to make it go away.
Yeah, you go,
echolocation. You could do that if that was the noise you wanted to make. You could actually use that.
We're gonna do a let's play or a live stream where we're gonna have people just during the 24-hour live stream that we're hopefully gonna do here. We're gonna have you play that game, and I'm gonna have people say different sounds you have to make.
It's so annoying though, because like. So here, like, I loved it and it was annoying at the same time. And I'll tell you how I kind of beat the system in the end. But as I was playing it, I found myself doing a Let's Play, because that was the only way I could continuously see what was going on. So I was just kind of talking to myself, like rambling. I'm just like, oh, there's some cupboards over here. I should go and open those cupboards. And
what
see
if you
what's
breathe
inside
heavily?
the cupboards.
Does it hear if you go? Because there's some heavy breathers in.
I mean, maybe it wasn't. It does register the sound quite well, like with the whispering and everything. So it really, you do have to be talking out loud.
So getting back to the calibration, do you have audio meters? Does it tell you does it show you how loud it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see like a waveform, or not a waveform.
Well, it's not really a waveform, but they do have like an actual like a pushy thing that goes.
So you can like when you're yelling, you're like, I'm yelling way too loud.
You can legitimately like calibrate it, to how loud you want to yell.
Okay.
But so I'm just like commentating on fucking everything, but then they start mixing in like the other elements of the game. So there's definitely something weird going on. It's kind of like a ghost story, but every once in a while you'll kind of lose your mind and have this kind of PTSD where you end up in this actual, like I said, pitch black place where there's just white lines. There's one other color of line that shows up to help you like realize what's going on, and there's a red line, and the red line means danger. It means there's an enemy there. Yeah. So if you see red lines, that's bad.
That's like New York City subway system. If you see the red line, you go the other way.
But yeah, so you're walking around, and remember, there's like a couple ways to make noise. One is just to walk, because if you're walking normally, then you're making footsteps, and you can kind of see a close proximity to you. If you want to see further ahead, you could like throw a rock really far, and then that'll ripple all the way back to you, so you can see the whole pathway.
Or just go.
Or just make dolphin noises. Yeah. So like
people on the podcast are like, "What the fuck?"
Well, here's the thing. Like, I was just like, so I was trying to think of like something I could do that wasn't going to be like me just continuously fucking talking. So I remembered there's an episode of Twin Peaks where Dale Cooper, like he gets this kind of weird foresight into which machines are going to give him the jackpot. So he'll sit down in front of a casino machine and he'll go, hello, and then pull the trigger, and then he'll like win money, right? So I was just like going down hallways going, hello, hello.
Why did you not record this?
Well, it just didn't pick up my voice, but I was doing that.
I know, but camera.
I don't know.
It would have been awesome.
I didn't think about it. So that was.
You know how doofy you looked, right?
Oh God, I know I did. And I mentioned this all in the review, by the way, like how embarrassing it was. But yeah, so
this is coming from a guy that stared at weird Japanese girls during a VR review.
My dogs are freaking out too, though, because they think I'm talking to them. So like,
we're your dad.
Cora got so mad at me. She's in my face barking, and of course, when she's barking, shit is showing up, and there's enemies around, and I'm just like, God damn it, Cora, calm down. And then I'm talking even even louder trying to get her to. So it was a whole.
So what you're saying is, to make this more excitable, you play with dogs in the room.
Yeah, I mean, if you want an extra challenge, it's like hard mode. You could play with other loud things.
It's called dog mode.
But yeah, so the enemies are kind of they differ depending on which version of the dark world that you're in. The first one is this like shambling zombie baby. It's so gross. It's like a shambling fetus, right? That just screams when it hears you when it comes close to you. But you can manipulate it with the sound, because it goes towards the sound. So if you grab a rock and throw it over the other side of the room, baby's going to go running over the side of the room, and then you can maybe sneak by and progress further into the game.
Don't put baby in the corner.
But of course, there are moments in the game where you have to maybe like open a door, which involves you like yanking this one of those old circle wheel things around.
Or milking a cow in your case. Tom is milking a cow there.
Milking a cow. And of course, baby can hear that, so baby will come charging at you while you're trying to open a door. You're like, holy fuck, and then you like have to dive under the door, and then baby will like just miss you and be like screaming at you. And but that's not even the scariest part. Like that stuff is terrifying, is really terrifying. Even for me as a horror veteran, trust me, like I was scared of that fucking baby. But then like it'll like switch you back over to like normal VR mode where you're not in the dark anymore. You're not just the white lines, but you'll be in like an orphanage, walking around an abandoned orphanage, and like
I have a feeling the baby has something to do with it.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Like it's the baby. There's lots of like stuff about parenting kids. Like you'll find like a ton of pregnancy tests on your counter and stuff, and there's baby magazines. So there's something going on.
You shot the baby gravy somewhere, and the baby's now demented.
There's a lot of baby gravy. Fuck it all. There's a lot of hints towards basically like not being able to get pregnant and then getting a baby from an orphanage maybe, and then that baby killing the parents or something. There's something like that going on.
So you got Stewie Griffin as a child,
basically,
cool.
Or that actual kid from the movie
Bertram.
Orphan. But yeah, so it's really well done. The daylight parts that are like not in the shadow world are scary. They're also like atmospheric and good. You still have to do your echolocation for some of it to try and like get rid of the fog and see where you're going. But then when you go into like that pitch black place, like everything is just so much more intense and scary. So yeah, I mean it's a really clever game. It's not a graphical beast, but it's not bad at all. It's more like Paranormal Activity level quality graphics. Most of it is just pitch black and white lines, so that stuff looks fine. You know, it's the ripples and the effects and kind of.
You know what I would probably do, and I've just realized this: if I played this game and it came to like seeing stuff, I do this a lot of times without even thinking it. I'm sure you've heard me at work where I go whoop. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah,
like that would do it because you'd get the.
You legitimately like have to make the stupidest sounds to see. So yeah, that
or Zoidberg. What if you should try to Zoidberg.
Not Zoidberg. So yeah, it's a really unique game. It's only like $20, and it's really worth it. Like in a season where we're now looking down the barrel of Skyrim VR and Bravo Team and the Inpatient and all these kind of massive releases, this is a game that should not be slipped under the radar.
You might call them super massive releases, but
because it is a smart game. It's a well put together game. It has a unique mechanic. It's genuinely scary, and I think the developers deserve some more attention because it's a really good game. And if it wasn't for the fact again that I was like literally like, okay, what game shall I play for VR this week? I was waiting on a key that I never got in time, which will be for next week probably. But I was looking at that and Dead Hungry, which were the two releases of last week, and there was a demo for Dead Hungry, and I was like, I already know I'm not gonna like this. So I went for Stifled, and just on a whim turned out to be one of my favorite current VR games, like hands down. It's really up there. So yeah. I think you'd like it if it wasn't for the scariness. Maybe you'd make yourself happy walking around making Zoidberg noises. The baby wouldn't seem so scary. As soon as he walks along the floor, you'd be like, whoop, 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 whoop.
That's how it run away.
Yeah, that's how he runs.
They should make a game where, based on the sound effects, is how you move. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, there's definitely
like your motion, like if you go whoop, 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 you go quicker, or you go whoop, 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 you go slower.
But yeah, great title. Pick it up. Basically, that's hands down. Like, it has my vote. If you want something nice and cheap that is also scary and fun, then this is a really good title for that. So there's that. And then to finish up things, we have our question. And our question this week was actually suggested by my beautiful wife. I couldn't think of a question last night, and I said to her, "Hey, what's a good question? VR question?" She said, "What everyday mundane activity would be made a bunch better by being in VR?" And I said, that's a good question, and I wrote it down. So that's my question for you, sir. What everyday mundane activity could be made a lot better
Anything.
in VR?
Because it could be hysterical.
Well,
So I think of
give
like,
me some.
Well, no,
some
I was going to.
All right.
But anything. So I think of like, think of Job Simulator. Do you like going to work?
No.
Not necessarily.
Sometimes.
Do you like cooking food? Sometimes. Do you like it being be stupid while you do that? Yes. So like just throwing shit around. Like I love that. The other like that to me like I've always said like a Sims in VR would be cool, even though like I'm a Sims fan, but it doesn't have to be the Sims. It has to be just a life simulation where it's like, okay, every day I wake up, I go to work, I do my job, come back home, and then there's other things to do here and there. The other one I really think would be fun would be like some sort of amusement park. I know they did the Roller Coaster Dreams, and that just did not do well.
Call that a mundane activity, though, an amusement park. I mean, that's already a
Well,
pretty exciting
if you live in
activity.
California, it's mundane.
Okay.
If you live in Florida, it's mundane. If you live in St. Louis, not so much here. We have, I guess, Six Flags here. But no, I think cooking, I think like just the everyday stuff you do would be more exciting because you could be stupid with it. Like I would love I would love if it was licensed by Gordon Ramsay, but it never will be. I would love a like stupid chef game where it's like make this, and it's serious, but it's not. Like it knows what it is. So like it's like make a filet mignon medium rare with mashed potatoes. And you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking throw this up into the ceiling fan to mash the potatoes up. Stuff like that. Like instead of chopping it up, just whoop, and it chops it and it comes back down.
So you want to take
stuff.
something that you dislike doing and just make it.
I mean, let's be honest. I just like throwing shit everywhere in VR.
That's true.
I just want, painting in VR. Like painting a room.
Cool painter
with like
supposed to be coming out soon. That
like
looks good.
throw like paintballs at the wall or something or whatever. Like that kind of like just put me anywhere that just has nothing to do.
So I sort of tackled this a bit like I would like to be able to do the activity in the real life with the VR helmet and have it improved by the VR. It's kind of what I was thinking.
Oh, I'm thinking just stupid stuff I can do.
No, you're
VR.
you're equally as the answers
I'm
were.
right.
But this is the way that I was going with it in my head, and I thought like jogging. Because I thought, like,
you don't like jogging.
Shit, right? No one likes treadmills. No one likes just running in place.
I like
I
like running in around a park. I go to Creve Coeur.
But you could make it way better if it was in VR.
They have one of those. The Vroom is VR bicycling.
The Verzoom.
Or
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like jogging is a shit boring activity.
It'd be so sweaty though.
Yeah, that's true. But if you could like
you get those fans attached though.
Yeah,
there you go. Get the Zephyr. You're fine.
And
nailed it.
Use a trackpad. Not trackpad. Fucking what do you call it? The running track wheel thing. The thing you run on the spot on. What's it called?
A running pad?
No.
Are you talking about like the NES pad?
No, like in real life, like you
treadmill?
Go to the treadmill. Thank you. That's what
I was like, you just said treadmill. Like
my
I don't know,
brain
maybe
just
two minutes ago.
Disappeared. So yeah, so you're on your treadmill, right? And then, but like in the VR world, you could be running through like a crazy.
You could be doing the New York City Marathon.
Yeah, you know.
Congrats
like
that lady, by the way. She set history. First time in 40 years a woman's won.
The U.S. lady, yeah, good for her. But doing like that type of thing, like making your treadmill into a marathon, and like you can actually see the other people, maybe even have like video footage of a marathon, and you're just running along with it. I think that would make that activity, which a lot of people feel like they have to do, you know, to work out, so much more exciting. But they still get to work out at the same time. The other one I had was lawn mowing. Because I fucking hate lawn mowing. I really do.
I wouldn't even want to do that in VR though. Unless you're playing like Hit the Squirrel.
Well, that's what I mean. Like there's got to be a way to make it fun. Like even if it's just like, so lawn mowing normally sucks because I have to push mower, right? But give me one of them ride-in mowers.
What if?
And that might be some,
so here we go.
Shit.
We're gonna go take your concept, and I'm gonna take it to the second level.
Okay.
What if you have a portable VR headset that you can set the dimensions of your lawn, have it on. Or maybe AR. It'd be better probably in AR than VR.
Yeah.
And you could just mow the lawn while doing whatever. I'm going to say running over a squirrel. That sounds real bad. I sound like a murderer, but that's the first thing that popped in my head was like
killing small animals.
Hit the animal, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Or like have like goals like maybe it's a competition where you have an AI that you're competing against to try and get it done first. Yeah. Like I would love that in AR. Apple, you have the ability to do that.
So like that was kind of like the lines that I was taking. It was like take something which people actually do and somehow make it so they can do it, but just like enhance it.
Yeah.
AR definitely probably better off for this, but I think like full VR immersion of a marathon run on a treadmill would be awesome. And you know, with the wind in your face and everything.
The only scary thing about that is you have to making sure you stay on the treadmill.
Right, for sure. I mean, it's a little bit dodgy.
Bam!
It's a little bit dangerous because if you fall, you
going
do
down.
not see where you're. Yeah. You do have a helmet on, but
You'll smash your face.
maybe you can maybe they can make a special sports edition.
Well, they'll strap you in so you can't fall.
VR headset that has like a helmet on, so when you can.
No, if you fall, it just suspends you.
Yeah.
No, I think it'd be cool to the other thing. I mean, again, it's not as mundane, but the problem with VR is you get inertia without getting inertia. So like bungee jumping, paintballing, that kind of stuff. I think would be a lot of fun. It's like activities, even driving, driving sim. Like I love Truck Simulator.
Some people think that driving is mundane.
It'd be a lot of fun to drive and go to places you wouldn't normally get to go to. And I've always said like vacations and this kind of thing, like. For the non-entertainment, just the relaxing kind of stuff I would love. Like, if I could go, I would love history. And I've talked about this before, but I would love, not necessarily World War II history for this specific example, but I'd love to go to Germany, maybe while Hitler was coming through and kind of being there and kind of understanding how he got what he did, the power of the speeches he gave, all that kind of stuff. And I think it'd give you different, or Pearl Harbor, like the day of Pearl Harbor.
For educational purposes, instead of reading like a history book in school,
you'd go to
the headset.
Yeah, it's like being at Pearl Harbor the day of, and then you go. Maybe, granted, they won't have it, but you could recreate it. The meetings that the generals had of determining, or talk to the president and being like, "This is an attack on U.S. How did they determine to go to war?" That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and the stuff you don't see, or even if it's like that scenario. So maybe it's the Pearl Harbor bombing, but you see it from somebody who is in New York. Like 9/11 for me is the big life event that happened and that I can remember. And I can remember specifically what I was doing that day, when I found out, where I found out, and what happened the next probably 3 hours after I found out, very vividly. And just having that experience of, again, my brother was born in 99. He was 2 years old. He does not remember. Same thing, going back and just reliving that day, even if it's not the footage that we know, just people's reaction to it, or being in a world where like you're sitting, again, Sims life, you're in fake real world where you're sitting there, you're maybe cooking up your breakfast, go eat an egg, and then on the TV it pops up the World Trade Center's been attacked, and you're like, oh shit. And then you can then determine from there, you have a decision of, do I stick with this world or do I want to go somewhere else and experience it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
That's
an extreme. But
as an educational tool, I think it's invaluable. I think that would be wonderful to be able to actually be there and actually, because there's only so much you can get from books, and history is mostly written. But to actually have a decent representation of
like for us, so the big thing in St. Louis that everybody knows is the Arch. Like that's what it's known for. Right. Imagine going and being one of the builders of the Arch and understanding kind of what their day-to-day life was, the completion of it, how proud they were, and you'd have these people that. I don't know how old the Arch is. I'm sure people are still around. I don't know my history of the Arch as well as I do other stuff. But having them kind of tell their experiences through it and then make a game or whatever experience around that, and you become one of the workers. Yeah. And you understand like the hardships of because people died while the Arch was being made. Maybe not necessarily you see the person falling off or whatever it may be, but you find out you meet Joe. And Joe was working with you on a site, and later, Joe had an accident, and you had to figure out what to do with that.
So there you go. I mean, that is school education is a great idea for making something obviously mundane, a little less mundane, and then working out, like jogging or
cooking,
mowing the lawn.
Cooking was my other one.
Cooking. But yeah, so what do you think? What do you think could be a good sort of mundane thing that you could make so much more exciting by putting on a VR headset and having an experience created around that for you? Those are our suggestions. I would love to hear yours. And it's about that time. We have to wrap up Codename for this week. Did you have something you want to add real quick?
No, I just hit my mic with my hat. It's gonna make this moment just real sad. Okay. You don't follow baseball at all, do you?
I don't.
Roy Halladay just passed away. He's a Phillies.
Oh, I didn't know who that was.
He's a two-time Cy Young winner. He won the World Series with them. He died in a Gulf of Mexico plane crash. Literally just came through on my watch. So I'm going to probably talk about that, and I might change my topic now.
There you go.
For the podcast, which is tomorrow.
Sad news for Phillies fans. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Well, for Andy, really.
I mean, he was a Blue Jay as well. Like, I followed him in his career, so I'm going to talk about this tomorrow.
I don't like people dying, so that's why I stand.
I mean, yeah.
Sad for everybody.
People dying is never a good thing.
Never a good thing. Unless they're squirrels, apparently.
No, or, I was going to say, unless they're a dictator.
Yeah.
But even then, like... Murdering somebody's never a right answer, but if they murder other people, I'm a little bit more lenient on it.
Okay, we were way off topic.
Yes.
So,
Codename Morpheus.
So Codename Morpheus
episode
16
There you go.
is your weekly dip into the world of the virtual. My name is Tom. This is Keegan. I forgot to say that at the beginning, so I'll say it at the end. We love you guys so much. Thank you for all the support with this show. Good news is that soon we should be working on some cool extra things for you. We got potentially some shirts on the way for Codename Morpheus specifically, so they don't have our faces on, but they have our cool little logo. If you really,
we just need to revamp the merch store.
We got to revamp a whole lot of shit. Our Patreon is terrible right now.
It's outdated. Our channel trailer's outdated. It's fine.
Everything's outdated.
But the show is not. The show is every week.
The show is fresh and funky and ready for you
every Thursday.
So, special shouts to the guys that post up and say, hey, this is my favorite show, this is my favorite podcast. It's
kind of cool.
That shit means the world to us, for real. Like, it just that you take 2 seconds out of your day to say, hey, this was good, thank you. It really makes it all worth it, because it takes a lot of effort to put this show together, I think.
And if you want, and if you do like it, please go rate us on iTunes, Google Play, wherever you listen to podcasts. Even if you don't listen to the audio format, it does help us with rankings to get seen more. And if you have any news or anything you want us to cover, any game you think we should cover, let us know, and we'll
just
look
spread
into
the
it.
word, man. Just like if you like the show and you have friends that like VR or thinking about picking up VR because of Skyrim or whatever it might be, go ahead and tell them about Tom and Keegan and Level 2 Gamers and on Codename Morpheus.
Or if you like my
really
shimmy,
appreciate that.
you can't see me if you're listening,
We'll
but
take
I'm
that as
shimmying.
payment while Keegan shimmies his way to the outro. So
I actually am wearing one of our shirts
You are
today. I
wearing
didn't
one of
realize that.
So thank you also very, very, very much for listening and watching. And as always,
welcome to the second level. Bye. Bye.
Ain't no game